Third time's the charm.
All right, there it is.
Welcome. What is up? Welcome to the Mixer. I am your host, RC. I'm joined by my co-host here, Jeff. Jeff, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing really good. It's a good weekend, a great sports weekend. Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, I'm jacked. I am ready to go. I've had minimal sleep. I'm in the ninth level of hell of teething right now. Um, as a person who was not a father before, I'm guilty of thinking, they can't be that bad. I'm a responsible guy. Stay on top of all my chores. Uh, you know, I see these other people. They have kids. If they can do it, I can do it. It'll be easy, bro. Whew. It's not that it's well in this certain instance. It's not that you know any level of effort will do anything. You're just along for the ride. And I mean, hats off to my wife. She's been crushing it the whole time. She is a great mother. She definitely shoulders the majority of the load. But I'm there playing a supporting role. I'm the Manny Machado to her Fernando Tatis.
That's good.
Anywho, let's get into it, shall we? We got a lot to go over. So, like you said, big week of sports. We had some NBA action, a Formula One race. The NHL is still around. Golf was awesome, but you know what caught my attention this weekend, Jeff?
What?
Baseball. I would have
Oh, yeah?
never have thought I would have been saying that a few months ago, but I was just wrapped up in all what was going on in the baseball world. So let's start with the Drays, the nickname that you so lovingly coined years ago as kind of um, a mocking tone, I believe. But anywho, I dig it, so let's go with it. They took 2 out of 3 from the D-backs. Tatis is on a tear. He hit 3 home runs over the weekend. Machado is back. He hit 2 on Sunday. They were mashing. Danielson Lament took a perfect game, and then a no-hitter into the middle innings. I think he almost got through the 6th before giving up a hit.
Yeah.
Jeff, my question for you, are the Drays for real?
I don't know. I mean, so this is a
People are
tough
saying
question.
they're for real. I
So
just listened to a podcast and they said the Padres are real contenders. It's
I do
contender
think
and contender season.
they are solid, right? Like they're third in the West, but they're really like, one game back in the wins column, a couple back in the losses column.
Mm-hmm.
They're 10-7. This is a tough one because I think it really goes with like how good do you think Tatis is, and can he continue to like carry them like this in a lot of ways? I think the Padres are really good. I do think they need Machado, Hosmer, and those other guys to like pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Austin Hedges homered last night.
I did see that. The one thing that worries me with the Padres is they're playing really well.
That worries
And
you?
well, no. Is this goes to Tatis, who I think is a really good baseball player, but he's
Uh-huh.
doing something as of right now that would be unprecedented if it lasted for his career.
Mm-hmm.
Is his batting average on balls in play? I don't know if you know about this stat or how many people do. It's one of those baseball advanced stats.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the highest career batting average on balls in play is Ty Cobb at 378.
Uh-huh.
You want to take a guess at what Tatis is at? Now, granted, he's in a short term. People can be like over 400 for a season, right? But it
Mm-hmm.
rarely lasts that high for more than a season or two. Um,
369. Wait, no. 6.6969.
no, Tatis is at like 415.
Mm.
Um, so this is one of those things with him that has been kind of worrisome. Like his speed probably helps him out there, right? Because he beats out some balls that maybe he shouldn't. I know he did at the start of last year a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
But what
He got one
happens?
last night. He got one hit last night. He hit it to Muncy and he bobbled it a little bit, but
Yeah,
he was well down the line by the time the ball got over there.
right. I mean, my thought really is what happens. Like, I don't think he's gonna come back down and be like a 300 BABIP guy. But what if
Mm-mm.
he comes down to he's like 350 instead of 410 or 415? Then a lot of those that probably loses him, over the course of a week, maybe 2 to 3 hits,
Yeah,
which if other people aren't stepping up, could be a huge difference. You know what I
I
mean?
hear you.
And so that's just my concern. Like I think Tatis is still going to be great. I think he'll still end up being the face of baseball at some point, like the
Mm-hmm.
ESPN article talks about. I just think for them to really be contenders, you need everyone else to really like pitch in.
You're right. Well, the one thing kind of working in the Padres' favor is the pitching hasn't been that great, especially the bullpen. The starters have been pretty solid, but when they've gotten to the bullpen, they've run into some trouble. It's
Right.
cost them a few games. They've survived a few games despite terrible bullpen outings. So, and then last night you had the bullpen carry the team. They had bullpen guys start, just kind of went with a bunch of different arms in there, and they made it work. They won 2-1 against the Dodgers. Arguably the best lineup in baseball. So it's encouraging. Jeff, you mentioned that article that Jeff Passan wrote for ESPN. It was the cover story yesterday. It's probably still up there. Definitely recommend reading it. It was a great read. As someone who's written 10,000 word articles, I rarely find myself reading them, but that one I read beginning to end, and it's worth a look. Um, I mean, you kind of led into my next question, Jeff. What's it like having the best player in baseball not on the Yankees for once? Does that, as a displaced Yankee fan, you a little jealous?
I
Little.
mean, if we're being completely honest, the best player in baseball hasn't been on the Yankees since, for a while. I don't really have a time frame on that.
Jeff, this doesn't fit my narrative.
I know, but like you should know that I'm team Mike Trout and have been for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was team Mike Trout over Miguel Cabrera the year he won the Triple Crown. Um, so I'm probably gonna stay team Mike Trout until someone like legit unseats him.
You ever watch him play?
Sometimes
No,
I'm
I
on the
mean,
way.
like, have you gone to a game?
Oh, Trout.
Yeah,
I've seen a couple.
I've
He's
seen
not.
him. I've seen him twice. Last time I went, he hit a home run, so that
Oh,
was
nice.
that was kind of cool. But I went to see Otani, and he like struck out 3 times, then popped out the first. I was like, lovely,
That's
lovely,
rough.
and well, actually, no, I think he grounded out 3 times on like the first pitch, so I got to see him take like 5 swings.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, we need a nickname for Tatis though, man. I think this is how we go viral. Linsanity is probably the goat of these situational, these breakout nickname things. And then of course, I cannot wait if Tatis has another good week to see all the Fernando Mania articles in
Yeah.
headlines. It's like, get it? Fernando Mania. Remember Fernando Valenzuela
Oh, yeah.
or Valenzuela? um, Anywho, so yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to be the one that thinks just a little bit more, that points it out, so I look smarter when in actuality it's just because I'm mad I can't use that nickname. Um, So yeah, we need to come up with one. Submit us your nicknames. I was trying to think, like, I wish his name well, it would have been better. Like Franmil Reyes, you could have said it's the Frandemic, but Fernandemic doesn't quite have that same ring. But I think there's something there.
Yeah.
So get those creative juices flowing. Staying with baseball, the Astros are tilting, as we like to say. We completely forgot to go over the Joe Kelly incident a few weeks ago now. It's not really worth rehashing, but yeah, Joe Kelly blatantly threw at the Astros and then mocked mocked. I can't remember who it was, but was it
It was
Cabrera?
Carlos Correa, wasn't it?
Correa, that's right. Mocked him, gave him the little pouty face, heading, and then promptly got suspended for 8 games. But over this weekend, they played the the Oakland A's, and they flew. I guess the residents paid one of those little Cessnas to take up a banner, and they flew a Houston Asterix banner over the
Nice.
Coliseum. As a disgruntled San Diego Charger fan, I am, we promote big skyriders, or what would you even call those? We are supporters of the banner industry, the aerial banners, because that's a Charger fan thing, flying them over LA. But anyway, back to the game. So Ramon Laura, why can't I say this name? Lorano?
Something like that.
Anyway, so he gets plunked 3 times over the weekend and twice in one game. And the first one, he took a fastball like up, and I think it caught him in the shoulder. And the next one hit him in the elbow. And then the third one was a slider, so it didn't really do that much damage. Hit him in the back. I recommend watching the John Boy video if you haven't seen it. Just look up John Boy A's or whatever. It'll probably be the first thing that comes up. And it's not John Boy, it's John with an M Boy, for anybody who wants to look that up. Anywho, I guess, and then, okay, let's just recap what happened. So he gets hit, goes down the line. He's telling the pitcher to, he's telling him how to throw the pitch, mocking him. I don't know exactly what he's doing. But then the hitting coach for the Astros comes out of the dugout and starts jawing at him. And I guess he said something about his mom, is the rumor now.
Yeah.
And he kind of took like a posture, like, come at me, bro. And so Ramon came at him. And then the hitting coach goes and shuffles back behind his 3 boys while his 3 boys take him down. And then he's just kind of in the back like, yeah.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
I mean, all the benches emptied, zero social distancing, which, I mean, it's a baseball game, and it's a baseball game brawl. Like, all bets are out the window once that happens. But yeah, that's a recap of what happened. I didn't know this beforehand, but until watching the John Boy video, but Ramon was traded by the Astros to the A's, and the guy who hit him twice, 2 of the 3 times, was the guy he was traded for. So I don't know, Jeff. Do you think? I mean, I try to look it up. I know as upstanding members of sports media, we're not supposed to speculate, but do you think he was hit so many times because the Astros maybe feel that he was one of the former players that I guess gave some backstory to the Astros cheating, or what do you think's going on there, man?
Yeah, I mean, it could have been. It definitely wouldn't surprise me if something like this going on when the hitting coach got involved, right? Like, that's weird that would happen.
Yeah.
Usually you'd think stuff like this kind of stays between players. Like, a guy gets hit, it's between him and the pitcher usually.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of be going down the line and then the hitting coach like yells out something at you is a little, I mean, more than a little out of line, but really weird.
Yeah.
Because coaches really, you don't really talk to the other team as a coach.
Yeah.
So that is weird. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. I also think too, like, it's pretty clear that the Astros are struggling, right? Like, I mean, it's early still, like,
They
for
were 6-9
baseball.
as of yesterday.
Yeah, well, they won yesterday. They're 7-9 now.
Not.
Um, but it's pretty clear, like, the teams they're playing against are pretty fed up with the Astros and the fact that I think the teams are upset, like, they didn't really get in trouble.
Mm,
Stuff like that. Like, I mean, the Joe Kelly incident, like, he's not right, but he was suspended for more games than all the Astro players combined, right? Like, it's just crazy that, you know, uh, what happened and the fact that nobody got suspended. And then now it looks even worse, like Altuve. Like, I know people were picking on him because he was hitting like 150 for up
yeah.
until a few days ago, I think. Um, Stuff like that. But, they're struggling this year. Uh, it happens. I think that we're going to see more of it. Like, we've seen it from the start of the year. I think we're going to continue to see it. Also, for everyone that was wondering, I'm pretty sure Joe Kelly was part of the Red Sox team that the
Mm,
Astros allegedly cheated against. Because I know that was a lot of people's question was like, why Joe Kelly care, kind of thing.
yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he was on the 2017 Red Sox when the Astros beat him. So I think that's why he cared. Um, but
Yeah, that
yeah,
that that makes sense. The Joe Kelly thing was just as entertaining. Um, yeah, I'm curious how long this is gonna go on for. Maybe it's just a 1 year thing. Maybe since it's a shortened season, all the teams that are playing him are like, they're not gonna get as many shots at him. And this season, with more teams making the playoffs, there's kind of less. I guess there's more room for error.
yeah,
However, it's a shortened season, so in a sense, there might be less room for error since there's not that many, not as many games. But it's it is interesting to watch it play out and how the other teams are handling it, how they're self-policing it, how the umpires are, kind of just stepping back and letting some of this happen.
right.
It'd be interesting to talk to one of them, at a bar or something to get their insight. But I mean, I'm here for it. I don't like cheaters, obviously. For who does. I'm not one of those people that say, "Oh, it's part of the game. If you're not cheating, it's trying." I've always
Right.
been a clean player. I haven't liked cheap shots that I have gotten like off the ball and that sort of thing. So I was an Astros fan. I was a huge Altuve fan, a Springer fan. Um, this coming to light was not good for that. And then also they beat the Dodgers, so that was a good thing.
Right.
Um, Anywho, but yeah, that hitting coach. Oh man, is there anything worse than likes to fight guy, Jeff?
No, in my opinion, no. There's absolutely nothing worse than that guy.
I've hung around those people too many times. And it is, I don't know, it's never fun. That guy would probably be a good match for my ex, hanging out down in PB or something. Um, the other thing I liked was that, do you follow the Astros Shame Tour?
I've seen it. I don't follow it though.
They, all the sports media writers, when there was the benches clearing and the scuffle, I wouldn't call it a brawl, that broke out in that game
Yeah.
with the A's and Astros. They were on like, this is a wrong thing to do. Um, that's a, and anyways, the Astros Shame Tour retweeted a video of Bill Burr doing a bit. Anyway, it was hilarious. You should look it up. So I mean, obviously suspensions are coming. what's the percent chance that Rob Manfred gets this right? Obviously, Ramon Laureano, I think I got it there, is going to get suspended at least as long as Joe Kelly did, 8 games. Do you think Astros pitchers get anything? I mean, the hitting coach has to get something.
I mean, I would imagine, but we also all thought that the Astros would get penalized for cheating, and that didn't happen. So, I think there's a greater than 0 chance he gets it right, but I don't know how much greater than 0. Like, if we're being honest about commissioners, Manfred's probably the worst commissioner in the major sports right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's close. Like, he's handled this whole situation terribly. At least with Goodell. Like, and I've never really been a Goodell fan because he's always been so clearly on the side of the owners, which I understand is part of his job. But he's also the guy that has to, the commissioner bridges things from owners to players, right?
Yeah.
At least with Goodell, you can look at it, and the game has grown. There's so much more money in the game now than there was when he first took over. With Manfred, I don't even know if you can say. I know there's more money, right? But he's one of those guys that what has he even done as a commissioner other than just be commissioner?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's maybe a 5% chance he gets this right.
Yeah. I mean people aren't going to be happy either way. Lorena is going to get suspended. I think the only way people would be happy is if he didn't get suspended or maybe got a 1-game suspension, right, and that hitting coach was suspended for the rest of the year. And then the Astros were hit with another fine or something, the maximum allowable fine, then right, people would be happy, but that's not going to happen. So, I mean, I would like to see that a big suspension for the hitting coach. That's more of what I think should happen. And, I would go 30 games, but even if it's 20, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Kind of sends a message. But yeah, anywho, thoughts and prayers to any Astros fans out there. I mean, you do have a title, so there's no taking that away. Banners fly forever, unless you're Reggie Bush and you get your Heisman taken away.
Everyone still knows he won it.
This is true. Formula One. There was a race this weekend. 70th anniversary Grand Prix. The intro to it was awesome. They had this 100-year-old F1 fan. He was some sort of Air Force captain for the British Air Force. Well, maybe they don't have an Air Force. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know my British military structure. But they didn't give any context. However, Silverstone, the track, was on an airfield, and he said he was at the first race. So I would assume he was an airman of some sort at the facility.
Nice.
Anywho, it's really cool. They showed the history of the cars, some of the best drivers throughout the years, some of the best moments, the spectacular crashes. But yeah, it was good. I tweeted it. So check that tweet out if you want to see what I'm talking about. The race was okay. So the highlight of the weekend.
Rob, you can be pretty honest. The race was exciting if you didn't care about who was going to win.
This is true.
Because there were a bunch of things happening in the field and where certain people finished that was fun. But as I'm sure you're going to explain, this race was decided probably halfway through for the most part if you knew what the strategies were.
Yeah.
So I'll let you take it from there. But the race itself was pretty interesting.
Yeah. So the highlight of the weekend was Nico Hulkenberg, who's filling in for the COVID positive Sergio Perez. for Racing Point. He hauled his pink Mercedes to third on the grid for the brand, as we say. Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris also had a good showing in qualifying. As far as the race goes, the good news is Mercedes did not win. The bad news is
they did take second and third.
This is true. But the bad news is it was mainly a strategy-driven race, which can be good. But I mean, I'm just probably just biased. I'm not a huge Verstappen fan, and I'm not a huge Mercedes fan, and those cars finished 1 through 3. So if it were Leclerc winning by a wonderful strategy, which Ferrari's not going to do, maybe I would have a different take on this race. But Leclerc somehow managed a one-stop strategy to bring his Ferrari home fourth while his teammate finished out of the points. Yeah. Vettel did spin at the start of the race, but just really off the pace all weekend. That car is just, dog crap. But like you said, the Mercedes didn't have the greatest strategy. Verstappen was started on the harder of the two tires, so he was able to run longer. Then he did a short stint with the softer tires, put in some fast laps, and then had fresh, hard tires to make it to the end of the race. The Mercedes started on used soft tires, ran too long, was losing time, and then kind of just reacted too slow. And their car is just harder on tires in general. So what this race shows us is, I guess, Mercedes isn't going to walk to victory like they thought they were going to, in that they do have to take Red Bull more serious if they're not, if they're not right on with their strategy. Red Bull, specifically Verstappen, is going to be right there to pick up pieces.
Yeah, this was, I tuned in towards the end of the race. There was still a decent amount of laps left, but, I tuned in, and then a couple laps later, Hamilton goes in for a second pit stop, which I think was lap 41 or 42. They raced 52. And, I didn't know where he was at tire-wise, obviously, because I just tuned in. But it seemed weird to me because he had like a 7 or 8 second lead. Obviously, like I said, I didn't know tire situations, so he might have been struggling at that point. But I watched probably the last 15 laps, and I think outside of the lap that Albon set the fastest lap on, and then Hamilton took it back, like literally a lap later. Like Lewis was the fastest car that I saw all day, like over the course of the 15 laps that I watched. He was the fastest car for probably 13 of them.
Yeah.
So it was a little disappointing to see him lose because of a strategy. I'm also a Hamilton fan, and like you, I'm not a Verstappen fan. But I do think while I'm a fan of dynasties and like one person or one team being like the leading force in a sport, because it gives everyone, you're either rooting for them or against them, right? Everyone's got a position on it.
Yeah.
It is nice to see someone else win, right? Because like if Hamilton had won, that would have been 4 in a row and 5 in a row for Mercedes. Mercedes finished 2 and 3, and it's pretty much set unless some like really bad things happen that Hamilton's going to win the driver championship and Mercedes is going to win the team championship. But it's always nice to know that like they're not perfect. If they mess up, another team's there to like pick up the pieces. And Verstappen's a good driver, right? Like I don't like him, but he's not. It's more his personality that I don't like. Like he's a really good driver.
Very punchable face, Verstappen.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Got the pouty lips. I don't know.
I mean, he does. Another thing too that I was a little surprised by was Hülkenberg was in 4th, I think, and then they had him pit with like, I think inside 10 laps at the end, which cost him, and I think he went down to 7th or something like that.
Well, the thinking there was he's not he's a temporary driver, so they wanted Lance Stroll to get some points because he's
Gotcha.
driving for the championship. So
Yeah.
that was more of just to boost him up. I think he just lost the one spot to his teammate. I don't know what the Mercedes strategy was. Hamilton pit too early to be on a one stop. I don't know if they thought they had enough in hand where Hamilton could just cruise to victory, but with Verstappen closing so much, they had to bring him in for fresh hard tires just to get into the race. If you remember, this is the same track as last week.
Right.
Then Mercedes had the double punctures at the end, which it's debatable whether or not they were actually punctures or if they were failures. You know, if they ride the tires down too much, they will fail. They explode. So that was in the back of their mind. They got it wrong. I mean, they're playing with like a 30-point plus lead in the championship, so
right.
This doesn't really hurt their championship chances too much, but you know, they lost a race at their home track, so not ideal. They could have went back to back.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like there's 9 races left. I'm on the F1 site as of right now.
Do they have Imola on there yet?
Yeah.
They do?
That's the October 31st.
Are they doing 2 weeks there?
I don't see 2 weeks there.
They have the Portugal race on there?
They have the Portuguese Grand Prix. Abu Dhabi's the last one on here. That's November 27th.
And then they have Mugello, right? These were all races that were added. That's why I'm asking about it. And they haven't been to those tracks in a long time. I don't think they've ever been to Mugello, which is the Ferrari test track. So I'm excited. And that track's awesome. It's narrow, so it's not. It has a long straight.
Okay.
So you know there might be some passing. There's a good amount of elevation change. It's mainly like a super bike track.
Gotcha.
But you know, I'm just interested to see. And Imola is a historic circuit that they haven't been at in a while. I can't really remember the racing there. I know I've seen races there when I was younger, but anyway, with the history and like the modern cars, I want to, you know, I'm excited to see it there. So anywho, yeah, I'm excited for those races. Not so much excited for the next race. It's the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Barcelona. Usually a boring race. Usually the first one into the first corner wins. But I don't know. Maybe we'll get some weather. I don't know what the Spanish weather is like in mid-August compared to, I believe they usually race there in mid-May. So, anywho, NBA, Zion and the Pelicans have officially been eliminated. So, I don't know about you, Jeff. What's the point? Let's just get to this bracket.
Well, I mean, the point is that they were pretty much eliminated before this restart. The NBA did whatever they could to not eliminate the Pelicans.
And it didn't.
By saying that basically all they had to do was get to 9th. Like, they didn't even have to get to 8th. They had to get to 9th.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pelicans came into the restart in like 11th or something like that. They're down to 12th. They haven't played great. It doesn't help that the Suns have played really well. The Blazers are playing decent. The Grizzlies haven't even played well. But yeah, I mean, this really isn't a surprise. But I think, you know, basketball-wise, you got the top seeds in each conference have been set and have been set for a while, pretty much. You have the Bucks and the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then you've got the Raptors and the Clippers. You know, I know it's I know we stopped basketball before the end of the year, but you'd be surprised that the Clippers are 5 games back of the Lakers, probably. Um,
Surprised in what way?
I think a lot of people thought, based on those two teams, that they'd be closer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're really not over the course of a season. Like the Lakers are a better team. Part of that is Kawhi probably hasn't played as much. Paul George hasn't played as much, but they also for a while weren't, you know, great when both of them were on the court either. Um,
Shots
but I
fired.
mean,
Shots fired. I feel like you're coming at me right now.
no, I mean they're really good. Um,
I feel like I'm Ramon Loreno and you just said something slightly insulting about my mother.
yeah, exactly. Um, I was intrigued to see the other day that Kawhi was either skipped a game or like on a minutes restriction because of his knee.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of surprised me. He's a guy that I think out of anyone could be hurt the most with the changed schedule because he's not going to get as much time off.
Mm-hmm.
And so for someone that's load managing all the time, that could be hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just want to get to this, you know, playoffs that the NBA is going to do, and let's get going.
I want to get to the conference finals. Lakers Clippers. That war is gonna get real.
That will be exciting.
I mean, here you are bringing up this, insightful, thoughtful analysis, and the main thing I wanted to talk about in the NBA is KD is still horny. I don't know if you saw that tweet where somebody called him out that KD was coming for his girl, and he said, "You're a pro athlete, like you're better than this." And then KD, with one of the all-time best responses, said, "My bad. I accidentally followed your girl and liked all her pics. My phone be tripping."
Yeah, man. Like I love KD. KD is he's feels genuine. He's he can be grumpy and he can be grouchy, but like I just like that you get a real reaction from him a lot of times,
Yeah,
and
that was
that
all
he doesn't
time.
hold back. Like that was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And Stephen A was right, Uh, these guys in the bubble, what if they get horny? Well, apparently Katie is gonna be, falling for thirst traps. I was gonna call the Lakers a fraud because when I checked yesterday, they had lost 3 straight, and then they were losing last night, but they eked it out, and you provided some awesome analysis. So I'm gonna retract that. It's on the show notes. This is me pulling it back and not mentioning it. Um, Another update. I still don't know what's going on in the NHL. I know playoffs are in swing, but maybe there'll be something that draws me in. Jeff, you had a golf update. Wanna hit us with what happened this weekend? Was it a major?
Yeah, it was the first major of the year. It was the PGA Championship, and it was, some interesting things happened. So we had going into it, Brooks Koepka was going for his third straight win in the PGA Championship. So he won it in 2018, won it in 2019, trying to win again this week, and it looked like he was kind of on his way. He at the end of the third round was like 2 strokes back of the leader and was in a position to at least give himself a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And then he flopped on Sunday. Uh, After he took a shot at the third round leader, which was really kind of funny and awesome. Brooks is one of my favorite golfers because he doesn't hold back. Like he says what he thinks, and you know. And so Saturday night, they after his round, this was also awesome because it was in San Francisco. So on the West Coast, like there were literally like there was TV coverage from like 8 a.m. until like 6 p.m. of
Nice.
like full golf rounds if you wanted to watch it. But Saturday after his round, Brooks took a shot at Dustin Johnson, who Dustin is one of the best players in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But they asked Brooks if he was worried about Dustin being the leader, and Brooks basically said, nah, he's only won one major in his time out here. I've been out here for 5 years, and I've already won four or something like that.
Scoreboard.
Yeah, basically. And this is like he's talking about Dustin Johnson, who's won at least one tournament for the last 13 years.
Uh-huh.
So like Dustin's really good. But he did bring up kind of a valid point that Dustin doesn't really get it done in majors.
Yeah.
And not gonna lie, it's really hard, right? There's not many people that win majors.
Yeah.
So like Dustin does have one, but it was just funny to note that Brooks did that. The other thing was Sunday was extremely exciting. It looked like we were going to have a playoff. And a playoff in golf varies depending on the tournament. Some tournaments, it's a one-hole playoff where you'll continuously just play one hole until
Yeah.
someone has a better score.
Yeah.
In this tournament, it would have been a three-hole playoff. They would have played 16, 17, and 18 again, I believe. And it would have been lowest score after the three holes wins. And it looked like we were maybe going to have up to like 6 people at one point in this playoff. But it ended up Colin Morikawa is your champion. Colin Morikawa eagled 16, I think.
I saw that drive.
Yeah, and ends up winning the tournament. He shoots 6 under in the fourth and final round to go 13 under for the tournament to win. And this is notable. He's 23 years old. He turned pro last year. He's already got 3 wins on the PGA Tour, and he's only missed 1 cut on the PGA Tour, which is huge. Big things for him. It's always nice to see a new face winning in golf. It was also cool to see a bunch of big name golfers were at the top of the list. So it wasn't like this was like one of those, occasionally in golf you get weird tournaments where, it might be a major, but depending on where it is or how it's played, you don't get a lot of the top guys near the top at the end of the day, or at the end of the tournament. But like in this, you had Morikawa wins, Dustin Johnson finishes second, Tony Finau, Jason Day, Bryson DeChambeau, all these guys are all finished within a couple shots of the lead. Another young guy that people like is Matthew Wolff, finished up there as well. But yeah, it was a fun tournament, an exciting tournament. It was nice to have the first major of the year played. Tiger didn't play all that well. I'm a huge Tiger fan, always have been. He didn't play all that great. I think he ended the end tournament -1. But yeah, overall great tournament.
When's the next major?
Few weeks, I think. I can check it out.
British?
I'm looking it up right now. So, that's wrong. No, next week is the Wyndham Championship, which is a normal tournament that they play.
Yeah.
And it's just a basic tournament. You'll get some of the top guys, but usually it's for, I don't want to say it's for, usually you get less of the top guys there.
Makes sense. Maybe rest up after the major. Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like a very entertaining tournament. I know Twitter was all about it. Especially that drive there that set up that eagle putt.
All right, so next major is September 17th through the 20th. It's the U.S. Open.
There we go. 1 month.
Yeah, and then the Masters is November 12th through 15th.
Awesome. So more ahead in the golf world.
Yep.
Now, time to go over our This Week in the Air is Poison, our coronavirus updates. So, 17 St. Louis Cardinals members, so players and staff, have tested positive. 10 players. They had it seemed like they were out of the woods, and then yesterday they had somebody else test positive. A total of 27 games have been postponed due to the coronavirus in Major League Baseball because of the Marlins being their run that they had, and then also the Cardinals now have had 13 canceled. I think they played like 5 games. Some teams have played as many as 19 games. So a real scheduling issue. I know they're talking about playing like 27 games in 23 days or something at the end of the season for the Cardinals to make it up. Miami is back. They're playing. I mean, they're not in a bubble. Is the bubble the only solution to have successful, to have successful sports leagues? I mean, Formula One, they're not doing a bubble. They can't, and that's working. So, I mean, Jeff, what are your thoughts? Do you think the bubble's the only way to do it right?
I don't think it's the only way, but I think it's the easiest way.
Mm-hmm. The thing that I'm worried about is, the bubble works until it doesn't. What if there's an outbreak in the bubble and then the bubble bursts? I had to reach really hard for that one. But I just feel like because the bubble it's kind of an illusion. You still got people coming in and out. Maybe not as much, and maybe they avoid contact, but something could come in.
Yeah.
Strip clubs have really good wings. Family emergencies happen. So anywho, we'll just have to continue to monitor that. The main story this week regarding the coronavirus is in college football. So, and of course, as everything seems to lately, this is all playing out on Twitter. I think it was late Sunday night. You saw some Twitter heads start to say,
I'll be right back. I gotta check on the dogs. I'll let you talk about this one.
All right, I'll recap. So anyway, late Sunday night, we had a bunch of reporters begin to tweet that college football is donezo. Basically, they're going to announce sometime this week that there's going to be no season. The Power 5 conferences, so SEC, Pac-12, Big 12, what are the other ones? ACC, I'm forgetting one. Anywho, they were all going to cancel the season. And then you had the We Want to Play movement kind of pick up, and they joined forces with the We Are United players. The We Want to Play was kind of led by Trevor Lawrence, and he's saying that the players are safer by going to school than they will be at home. In that they just want to, make sure that they're protected, their scholarships are protected if some players who have underlying conditions or are more at risk opt out. I also saw that somebody, again, a Twitter reporter, said that an AD, a Power 5 athletic director, contacted him and said that, player safety is one thing, but the main reason that these schools and conferences are pushing for the cancellation of the season is in response to the We Are United movement. They're worried about college football players forming a union, basically, and they don't know how to handle that. And so they're going to cancel the season, kick the ball down the road, and try to address that issue, in the interim until football picks back up again. So I don't know how it's all going to play out. I've kind of said all along that there's no way they can expect these guys who don't get paid to put their lives on the line. However, I do kind of see some value in what some of the players, Trevor Lawrence, and even the coaches. I mean, I saw Nick Saban said something today that, people are going to think that he's maybe anti-player safety, but he truly does feel that the players are safer with playing college football. And I kind of do get that aspect, because if players are not not practicing, not in games, not focused on football, these are young guys, young athletic guys, and they're not really necessarily going to follow the health guidelines. And I mean, you kind of feel in a way that kind of feels like justifying their ignorance to the issue, but I mean, it's just a simple fact. So I don't know. Jeff, I was just going over how, you have people like Trevor Lawrence and Nick Saban, and, a lot of reporters saying that the players are actually safer if they stick with college football than they would be if they, if there wasn't college football, they didn't have something to focus on. And I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, because I've been, a big player safety advocate, wanting in all sports. I don't want these guys' families to be at risk for catching it. However, I do kind of understand the point that these young guys might be better if they have something to focus on, instead of, just having all this free time where they're going to go out, they're going to have to be with their families. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. I think that, I don't know. I think the players are doing the smart thing, trying to use this situation to better their lives at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
With the medical care, the trying to get payment, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, one of the scary things is they're not even allowed to have like lawyers in this negotiation process, which
is
doesn't
wrong.
make any sense to me.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. I think that, I don't think they're wrong. I think if they are able to be on campus and practice and play, it's probably better for them as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we don't know the situations that they come from. Are they going to go back into a place where COVID is running rampant? Or we don't know what their family situations are, stuff like that. But we do know that, like, being on a college football team can be like being in a bubble at times, right?
Yeah.
You're practicing, you're doing something all day kind of thing. You don't have a lot of time to get yourself in trouble, although you
Yeah.
still can. It just depends on how much energy and how much effort you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that it probably is better for them to play.
Yeah. Aaron Hernandez might beg to differ about not being able to get in trouble.
Look, like I said, it depends on the energy you put into it. But
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, going out and partying with Tim Tebow and getting in a fight at a bar. That story's wild. Anywho, I mean, I almost feel like there's more of a chance of a college football season actually happening right now than at any point, but it's going to be interesting to see. We'll just have to continue to monitor it. I don't know if it's just going to be BYU, Notre Dame, Army, Navy, and Air Force in like a 5-team tournament that determines the college football champion.
that'd be interesting.
I mean, Army Navy is an underrated rivalry. I would, like just have them on every week, and then just sprinkle Notre Dame in there, and yeah, let's roll. Let's roll. Oh man, I had a fire verbal meme in here that I think we're just gonna have to leave by the wayside for time. And and just maintaining the nature of the conversation. So, I mean, that's going to wrap up our kind of our weekly recap of sports. But Jeff, we maybe buried the lead for a lot of people here, but we're actually a month away from the NFL kicking off September 10th, Thursday Night Football, Chiefs, Texans. NFL being back, you know what that means. Fantasy football is back. And our league, we had a big event to determine at least a portion of our draft order. We have a system where there's a bunch of events. So we had two simulated events. So right away, my thoughts on that. And last year we had two simulated events, and I finished DFL in both of them. And that was after spending the whole off season accusing the champ of being an agent of the simulation, mocking him. Anyway, and then I felt that was punishment. I brought it. Then, with my charisma, my charm, my seduction, I brought you into this world. You became my co-host. And then what happened this time, Jeff?
I finished dead last.
You finished dead last in both events, and I finished 7th in both events, which means a second to last. You know what the funny thing about 7th is? It's third to last.
I know.
The simulation is mocking us.
I have to say, before these events happened, I had never finished last in any prop event I'd ever been a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And then to do it back to back, something's up.
Yeah. And then my character came out third on the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Undertaker, and he was wrecking at first, and then it just fell off a cliff. Like I said, I finished 7th in that event. So, I mean, I feel like the simulation isn't even trying to hide it. And then our commissioner won both events. The guy who picked
the
simulation events after I've been anti-simulation event at any point in this that we've done this, I've been against it because it leaves too much up to chance, and the whole purpose of us having our selection is to kind of reward the people who put in the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that takes this away. It scrambles the seedings. I haven't seen the new seedings, but yeah, the guy pulling the strings and promoting the simulation narrative and movement gets rewarded with 2 wins.
Yeah, the submissioner came through.
Yeah, and I see people calling us conspiracy theorists. We're not conspiracy theorists. I don't want to identify with those wackos. What we're doing is we're asking questions. We're asking questions. Why does this keep happening? Why do us who are asking these questions seem to get targeted routinely, week after week? I've had some crazy stuff happen in my fantasy football life. I feel like I'm getting trolled with all the third place finishes, third place to last. It's definitely not because I'm looking out for it. It just keeps happening. And then the day after these shenanigans by our commissioner and Big Zim, my neighbor, who I have grown very fond of, who I speak with regularly, bounce ideas off of when I'm taking my dog out each week, codename Paul Rudd, he was gone. He's always out on his porch, and he was gone.
It happens.
Just disappeared, boxed up. He's been there for over a year. The next day.
Did you go ask, make sure he's okay?
No, man. I don't want to know the answer. I don't want to know, if this guy got freaking Epsteined, if he suicided himself by, some agent of Big Sim. It was probably, the commissioner was out here last week or a few weeks ago. He's probably agent number 1. He's the 00, the 007 of the of the sim world. Um, you know, was he contracting out? Was he going after the things I care about most? We've seen the simulation escalating this battle, and I think it's time, Jeff. We got to stand up. We
Yeah.
have our commissioner is obviously like a Geppetto type character, and then we got our champ who is Geppetto's Geppetto. And I just want them to know that we are not going to be silenced. They cannot scare us. We're going to stand up. We're going to use our platform. We have this big social media empire growing. Speaking of which, follow us on iTunes, Spotify, rate and review, all that. We're on social media at FCAY Mixer. But anywho, Jeff, I'm declaring war officially on the simulation and its agents. This will not stand. Jeff, will you be my top general in this battle?
I will. I'm in it.
We just put you on notice. More to come. I don't think they're ready for us. We're gonna have to do another big sim episode, and I have to start studying for my prop sheets because my top spot heading into those events has definitely changed. So yeah, and I don't want to pick sixth. Anywho, maybe next week we'll do a mock draft. We just got spent a lot of time here attacking a simulation. So let's do a simulated mock draft to help us out. Why not?
Okay, I'm in it.
Yeah, that's it. Unless you got anything else, Jeff.
Just hopefully everyone's getting ready for fantasy football. It should be a fun season if we have it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And thoughts and prayers to you, my man. I will not let this attack on you, be easily forgotten. We are standing up. We are fighting the power, in whatever way we can. So yeah, man. Let's go get some PF Changs. Get out of here.
I'm down.
All right. See you guys. Catch you next week. Later.
See ya.